Alright, we back with How Good Was WrestleMania 40 Part 2. Let's go.
Was as close to a perfect Mania as I've seen. As a standalone WrestleMania from start to finish, everything on night 2 was perfect. Everything led us to this night. Online riots, pivots, nightmares, final bosses, but we began with psychopaths and visionaries. Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre, World Heavyweight Championship. All I wanted in this match was for Drew to win, and I wanted it for the simple fact that it was a long time coming. It had been 4 years since WrestleMania 36 where Drew won in front of no one, and I'm happy to report that Drew McIntyre has in fact done it. Drew McIntyre captured the World Heavyweight Championship in front of fans, and this is one of those moments that you live for. A guy who has worked his ass off. We've seen his story, we've seen most of his life, to be honest with you, finally reaching the mountaintop after having it taken away so many times. Drew hit Seth with a Claymore seconds after the bell rang, and both guys kicked out of each other's finish multiple times. Even with Seth having gone through hell the night before in the tag match, he gave it his all, but Drew winning the title here was the right call. He's on the run of a lifetime, utilizing social media to a T. His promos don't feel forced. He's not a good guy or a bad guy. He's got reasoning as to why he's doing what he's doing. But above all else, one thing that he continues to do is troll CM Punk. The way the company has built up the Punk and McIntyre incoming rivalry is a stroke of genius. After the adrenaline rush of this match, who did Drew go to? Of course, he went to CM Punk, and that's what cost him. The moment Seth was leaving after losing the title, he simply told Drew, "You fucking deserve it, man." But like I said, Drew didn't just take this moment and run with it, he had to shove it in Punk's face. In the whole build, Drew has been telling Seth to focus on him and not the bloodline. Drew was focused on Seth, but his obsession with CM Punk ended up being his downfall. For months, Drew was the voice of reason, but his own obsession cost him the title. It cost him a moment that he had been working years to re-achieve. Punk laid out McIntyre when he just couldn't take any more. In came Damian Priest to cash in the Money in the Bank and win the World Heavyweight Championship. You gotta think Clash at the Castle in Scotland is Drew's true moment with the pyro and all the bells and whistles. Then it's Punk and Drew at SummerSlam. The crowd was electric for this. This cash-in was a huge moment. To me, WWE hasn't done anything, and I mean anything, to make me care about Damian Priest. Balls in their court now, don't goof it up. As for Drew and Punk, when we step back, we take a look at why this happened, this makes a lot of sense. The pride in the Final Testament was the showcase that it needed to be. Snoop Dogg on commentary had me dying by giving his best analysis on the randomest moves. It was fine for what it was. Bubba Ray Dudley as the ref. It was in Philly, so of course they're going to do a weapons-based match. This came after we were just processing the crazy and insane start to this show. LA Knight and AJ Styles was really competitive. Why I really like this match is they didn't start off with a headlock. These two have been trying to kill each other in the build. There is nothing worse than when two guys want to kill each other and they start off with a headlock. TNA ran wild and LA Knight continued to prove the can't wrestle allegations false in a very competitive match. Seriously, from a match standpoint, every match on this night was a hit. What also helped this was the crowd was crazy on this night. They did a complete 180, and a lot of that had to do with the weather. The US Championship match was also a ton of fun. This lended itself to the party atmosphere that I've mentioned a few times. When KO was entering, one bit of the production that I really liked was Sammy was there to hype him up just like KO was the previous night. This was a mix of awesome wrestling and pure shenanigans. All three of Owens, Orton, and Paul worked wonderfully together. The praise I want to give to this match is all three men stayed in for basically the whole time and worked together to craft this match. It wasn't one of these things where two guys work in the ring while the other guy's on the outside resting, then that guy comes in while someone else rests. All three guys stayed in the ring. Of course, guys had respites here and there, but they just worked together perfectly. Later in the match, the Prime bottle reveals itself to be I Show Meat, who then gets RKO'd onto the announce table. When the chaos dies down, Logan Paul keeps the championship. I think we all know he's not losing that before SummerSlam.
Dang, that championship actually hitting. Hold on.
The co-main event was Bayley versus Io Sky, and this was actually a perfect match. They knew each other so well after being together for so long, as well as Bayley selling her knee. That was a nice touch, since it was her coming back from that knee injury that led to the formation of Damage Control in the first place. Shirai sprung out of the Rose Plants attempt from Bayley. That was followed by a back suplex, followed by a big elbow, then a Rose Plant to give Bayley a 1-2-3. Bayley won a perfectly paced match, and again, you got a huge babyface win. There's not much for me to critique from night 2. It was just a good night of wrestling. What was in night 2's favor was each match felt different or had some variation of a previous match. You had the finisher fest at the start, then you had the weapons match with the 3-on-3, then you had the traditional match with AJ and Knight, then the shenanigans filled triple threat match. The women's match was another classic wrestling match with good psychology between the two women who knew each other's playbook inside and out. But I know what you guys are here for. With everything behind us, one question remained. Would the story be finished? It was time for Roman versus Cody. Bloodline rules, and we expected this thing to be the most overbooked thing ever, and it was everything and more. I'm putting this on record right now. You guys need to go back and watch that Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes promo package, because that thing was brilliant. I actually think they produced one of my favorite promo packages in a long while. Eyes Closed by Imagine Dragons, and they show where Cody's been and how he made the journey back to WWE. How Roman was the mountain that he just couldn't climb, and it also showed us the road to Mania. Genuinely, this was outstanding production. Both guys had insane entrances. The big time energy was chart breaking. Roman came out like a final mafia boss, whereas Cody came in looking like $1,000,000. My words do not do justice to any of this. They started off by putting on a wrestling clinic, and the story of the match was what I talked about in the night 1 portion of this video. Cody hitting that third crossroads. They brawled to the outside, used some weapons here and there, and they just went move for move, and there were so many close falls in what I consider the wrestling portion of this match. Both guys even ended up stealing each other's finish. Roman does a good bit of storytelling as he hits the crossroads and then just go, that move never beat anyone. The irony at the end is brilliant. This thing then gets into the crazy Avengers mode that we all knew it would get into. Out comes Jimmy to help Roman, and Jay comes in to neutralize Jimmy and spear him from the top of the stage to a table below. Then Cody goes for the 3 crossroads again, and this time it's Solo who ends up making the save. He can't hit number 3. He's fought off by John Cena. He neutralizes him. And then Cena gets in the ring, and out comes The Rock. We have the perfect face-to-face between these two. Rock hits a rock bottom, and just as he's about to lay into Cody, out comes Seth Rollins, but not with his normal music, with the Shield theme song, and this was so poetic. Because not only did he come in with the attire, he came with a chair. The thing that created the monster of Roman Reigns in the first place a decade ago. Remember how Rollins told Cody that he would be his shield? Well, that had a much deeper meaning than I think a lot of us had envisioned. When Seth came in, he was taken out by Roman Reigns before he could do anything. Now Rock is left in the middle of the ring, and out comes The Undertaker. You just knew this spot was for Stone Cold. And imagine how perfect that would have been. A meeting between Rock and Austin one more time. Regardless of all that, this was still awesome. He chokeslams Rock and he leaves. So the Cody Vengers have come together, and this ending was so perfect. Roman is left with a choice. On one side is Cody Rhodes. On the other side is Seth Rollins. In his hand is a steel chair, the device that tortured him for years. The device that brought him trauma that he just could not recover from. A swing to Cody could keep his ironclad grip on the championship he loves more than anything, and with that, his spot of being the top guy. But instead, he swings the chair towards Rollins, unable to live that June date down. Wounds of Seth's betrayal still haunt him 10 years later, and that's the lure of this whole thing. It all made sense for us dummies who have been watching for so long. This decision gave Cody enough respite to recover, and this time with the path completely clear, Cody Rhodes hits 3 crossroads, and ladies and gentlemen, Cody Rhodes has finished the story. From Stardust to top star, Cody Rhodes has done it. In the most overbooked, crazy, heart-pounding, exhilarating WrestleMania main events I have ever witnessed, it was all worth it. This was a pure movie. This was perfect. As a wrestling fan, this is what you live for. Let me read.
Yeah, man, we gonna end it right there, man. That's the end of WrestleMania 40. It was the littest one in a while. It might be the best one in my lifetime. I started watching about WrestleMania 20, but yeah. Anyway, like, subscribe, see y'all in the next video.